Hi guys, this is Divanshu from Team Scrapingdog, and in this tutorial I'll teach you how you can build a simple workflow to track your backlinks. This is especially useful for backlink builders. So what backlink builders or backlinking works is they track their links in a Google Sheet like this, and they have their source URL, the anchor text from which they have got the link, and the target URL. Basically, what this workflow will do is track if anchor text and the target URL are intact in the source URL which you have kept here, and give you the status of all of these details in this particular sheet. So there are tools that already track backlinks for you, but they cost at you at very high end. So tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush and Ubersuggest. Specifically, if you need workflow for managing your backlinks, this workflow can help you out. Moreover, it would cost you very less compared to those tools. Now let's get back to our automation, and I'll tell you how each node is connected to each other. And that way you can build this automation for yourself. Or if you want a blueprint for this particular automation, I'll provide that in the description or the comment section. So like every other workflow, we need a trigger to start our automation. We have a scheduled trigger which run once in 7 days. So this is the configuration for this particular trigger. You can have a manual trigger or a chat trigger over here. Then the next node is Google Sheets. This Google Sheet has the name link checker over here. This is my Google Sheet. We are taking source URL, anchor text and target URL from this sheet, and basically we want to take all these data and fetch into a web scraping API. Then we have the loop over items because we have more than one item, so we have to loop over them. And then we have the web scraping API over here, which is our Scrapingdog API. This is the endpoint of the API. Basically, we are getting the HTML of that particular page, and to run this API, you need to have your API key. This is my API key, and this is the URL which I want to scrape, which I am getting from my Google Sheet. It is the source URL. This is from this block. I am getting all the URL to scrape. I'll execute the previous node so you can see how the mapping is done. So you can see that we are taking this particular source URL to scrape, and dynamic is false here. We are not taking dynamic to true. If dynamic, if this value is not taken, then the API renders JavaScript, but we don't want. So we are taking it as false. So over on the right side, you can see that we have the HTML of this particular source URL. Now the next node is extract HTML content. Over here, what we are doing is taking out the body of the content, the body of the HTML. So basically why we are doing that, because as you would see that your backlinks would be in the body of the content and not in, header and footer section. So it is good to, filter out all the other things and have only the body section from the HTML. And that is what we are doing over here. You can see the configuration. The key is body HTML, the CS selector is body, and the return value is again HTML. Let's execute this step also so you can see the output that we get. So on the right side, you can see that we have the body HTML of the content from the HTML, sorry, that we had in the previous node. The next node is code in JavaScript. We have a JavaScript code that gives you us some data points regarding HTML. So what it does is it gives us whether the anchor text is present or not, the anchor text that you have given. So you can see in my Google Sheet that we get the status, meaning, we get if this anchor text link to our domain or not, does it link to the exact URL or not. So we get all of those values, and the logic is made over here through the JavaScript code. You can copy or use this code as is from the blueprint that I'll provide. Let's execute this code also and see what output we get. So you can see for this URL, I have provided this anchor text and target URL, and I get these values that it linked to domain false, link to exit URL false, anchor as link false. So basically it says that link, this particular point means if any link or any anchor link to my domain, it gives value in true or false, which is false over here. Does it link to exact URL that I have provided in the anchor text in the target or the target URL? So it will say true, or it will have the value true or false here. Does the anchor as link, meaning if the anchor over here is linked to the same URL that I have given, if it is true in the body of the content, then its value will be true. And anchor plain mention, if your anchor is mentioned in the content but it is not linked, then it will have a value of true. So to check this automation, I have deliberately kept some false values, and this is one of the false values that I have kept. There is no anchor text of flight API in this particular source URL. It was just to check it, and it is giving the right values. So the status you get is no link, and meaning of the status you get is there. You get no link or anchor text found for your site. Now what we have to do is update the same in our Google Sheet. We have mapped it correctly. You can see that we have mapped it correctly. You have to map each column manually. I am mapping through the row number. The row number I am getting through my loop node, because there I have my row number, and then I'm updating the status. I am updating the status name, link to domain, and every other value that I am my Google Sheet. Also I am updating date of today. Whenever this automation runs, we have a date also. So let's execute this step and see what results we get in our Google Sheet. So our automation shows that it has been updated, the Google Sheet has been updated. Let's check our Google Sheet. So as you can see, for the first row, that it says there is no link, and there is no link or anchor text found for your site. Does it link to domain? False. Link to exact URL? False. Is anchor same as link? False. And every other value we have. Let's run this for whole sheet and see what value we get for our other links. So it has ran for all backlinks, and you can see that every status I get here. For the anchor text and link, it found that if AI in web, like suppose for this backlink, if it found this anchor and found that this anchor links to this particular target URL, the status would become okay. The status meaning is again that link and anchor are as expected. So what you can do is you can have many links over here with anchor text and target URL in this sheet, and you can run this whole workflow periodically to check your status. Next, what I am doing is I am emailing myself if there is a status that is not desirable. So I'll get an email that my link has been removed or whatever the status is, and that particular automation, that particular workflow goes here and it gets all the rows in the sheet. Then this code checks the status of the codes which are not in OK state. So we'll get all these rows from this particular node. And then in this node, what we are doing is preparing an email to send us the report. And finally, an email is sent to us, and I'll show you how the email is sent. Let's run this whole workflow again and check what email we get. So as you can see, the whole automation has run successfully and an email has been sent to us. So here is the email. The subject line of the email is backlink issue report, and here you get the status summary. So there are no links in one of my link, and anchor has changed in one of my links to domain only. It has count 1, and these are the details that you get. So if you are a link building agency or a freelancer who manages links for your clients, this automation can definitely help you out. It would give you the status of each of our links when you check it periodically, and then you can reach out to your partners if your links status has been changed. In this automation, we are using the web scraping API from Scrapingdog. You can read the documentation over here to see how you can run this API.
You get 1000 free credits to test this API, so sign up today. And for any other information you need, you can email us at info@scrapingdog.com. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.